Condition. How the path presents itself. A very matter-of-fact word. It means the and a cause of a certain result. Here, one sees a must-be presence of this conditional object. Without it, there would be no result, or a distorted one, or at least a different one. The extent to which the condition influences the result depends on the consequence and relevance of the respective condition. Conditions are by no means always obvious. One is often forced to search for them. Life moving. Conditions we live by, despite their vagueness, we consider them the unconditional map by which we must orient ourselves. We try to fight with them, we manipulate them. We recognize them roughly and consider them to be somewhat malleable. This is what accounts for their apparent consistency. We are convinced that, as applied to us, they can be changed. We come to terms with them, we accept them, we adapt them, they represent the meaning of our lives. Conditions of a crazy chaos system. The foundations of our lives that we experience, assume, and impose upon ourselves. The circumstances that determine our well-being and our woe. We are never truly aware of this basic information, according to which we are compelled to act, in its entirety, nor are they even accessible to us. This is because it originates from an illusory chaos system. These conditions have, ultimately, no cause. Thus, only an apparent framework is recognizable. The rest, nonetheless extremely impressive, is subjective interpretation. Dependent conditions. Recognizing conditions depends heavily on a certain perspective of thought. An open mind, a certain distance from the thing itself, a more uninfluenced perspective, allow us to see. Conditions are the primary cause, but, not necessarily in a factual way, part of the outcome. They are, always, anchored in a past that continues in the outcome of the thing. Conditional modus operandi. Our experienced, lived world is the result of the conditions we have stored in our minds, which we have internalized. To which we give our reality. Our modus operandi, to existence. A completely consistent, self-proving chain of logic. Fed by experience, information, knowledge, and conjecture. With extremely profound basic conditions: death, illness, old age, lust for power, fear, doubt, anger, despair, suffering. Conditions are always individual. There came one who knew nothing, and did it. Conditions can already exist or be created, or even be made available in whole or in part. Conditions, in their interpretation, can only be grasped subjectively by the individual, in the awareness of their existence. This means that it depends on the individual's spiritual intellectual world of existence which of the conditions they recognize. Here is a quote from the prophet Jesus: "Let the children and the poor in spirit come to me." Not just money. As it inevitably turns out, you, as a human being, live according to the conditions you are able to recognize, at least roughly, perhaps as a shadow. This is certainly a great, impressive, truly moving statement. Do you perhaps feel a slight discomfort when you reflect a little on the conditions you are able to see in your life? But it is not simply, for example, the all-encompassing financial logic that inevitably appears in your thinking. That is merely a symptom. Much further within it, there is always the entire system of evaluation, of judgment. The question of good and evil, which is the very first condition, not just for this monetary thing. Conditions equal court rulings. The conditions you recognize appear rigid, they are more like court rulings. Upon closer inspection of this seemingly endless chain of conditions, we undoubtedly recognize the incredible potential granted to those who dictate the conditions. And so, too, is our life's endeavor to escape these limits, these chains, in one way or another. What prevents us from initially recognizing these, our general living conditions, as chaotic, downright insane, and subsequently breaking free from them is tremendous fear. Comfortable home. For our self-created constructive conditions, that is our home. Our home. More than that, it is our guidebook. Uncomfortable, we know, perhaps even unpleasant. But here we know our way around. Yes, we know and sense the ground on which we are permitted to walk. The limits are made very clear to us. We feel the heavy chains. In this case, it is made completely impossible for us, by this very conditional construct, to recognize that, in holy truth, completely diametrically opposed conditions prevail that are also within our reach. Self-reflective condition. To recognize nothing more than itself as a condition is thus one of the conditions of conditions. Self-reflective. Our minds, clogged with idols, fail to see that the basis is causally absolutely different. We no longer see this, our conditions have made us blind and deaf. And so, paralyzed by these very conditions, we remain silent and mute and suffer, believing that this gigantic tragedy is the only possible one. Love manifests itself. The end of this world of illusion, this path of existence based on pre-judgments, however, is consolidating. In the increasingly powerful fact that countless people now recognize, and subsequently reject, the imposed conditions, it becomes clear that there must be other preconditions, a different kind of foundation on which the world is built. Holy conditions, so to speak, into which we can now escape, and that this new earth is the loving, true one. The only truly existing one. Emerging from the love of creation. Clues available now. Pure reason, as it is now available to everyone, there are numerous books, texts, videos, and audiobooks. Together with your heart's intention, point the way. Blind faith is by no means necessary to shape the true foundations, conditions, the honest, loving, forgiving dealing with oneself and other people, animals, and nature, as represented by the love of creation in its absolute form, into one's new self. Not foolish, blind faith. But actually just clear, simple reason. What is pure reason? Pure love. Conclusion. The world, the universes, created by the love of creation, they vibrate at precisely this vibration, this frequency of love. If we simply call upon this absolute love with a gentle call, addressing the Holy Spirit as a communicator, it will pave the way for us back to the soul condition, the holy condition of love. To align our vibration with this general vibration of the universe, this eternal, absolute frequency of love, to take it back, for it has always been ours, together with God, who is pure love, just as we are. If you liked this text and consider it important, please share it with your friends. Give us a kind like, leave a comment. Thich Om has written several books, also visit www.zwolf4t.de. May you have a wonderful time.